Hello, peoples, and welcome to Lorcanarama. Yay, we're here. Can you guys hear us? You hear me?
Hello.
Everybody's good? All right.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hey, you guys see that smile on Jake's face? It was there the whole weekend.
The whole weekend.
The
Of course. I
whole
was so
weekend.
happy. My first DLC.
I told my wife who went with me, she said, what was your favorite part of DLC? I said, letting watch Jake meet some of the people he'd seen on videos and stuff like that.
So
and like a little kid smiling everywhere, man. He was just like, and even Sabrina and I sat down and we were having this talk while he was standing in line. And we were like, just let him have fun.
I was
Just
a
let
kid
him
in a
have
candy
fun.
store for sure.
Yeah.
And then he would run back to me. He would run back and be like, guess what this stand has? And I'd be like, what, Jake? And he'd be like, but they sold it. And now I got to look for it again.
Oh, man. Does your wife know how much money you spent?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
She's okay.
All right.
It's my investments. It's my investments and gambling all in one time.
So Jake made the declaration he was bringing his wife next time, and I think it's because he probably felt guilty from all the money he was spending. So, and the fact that he had such a great time without her. I think that was part of it too.
She probably would have had a good time.
Yeah. Yep. Hey, welcome everybody in chat. We appreciate it. Dalton and Jess, I got you. I got your picture. You're coming up. Just give me 1 second. So yeah, welcome everybody. If this is your first time listening to us, by all means, please follow us. You don't need to subscribe. We don't do anything with money anyways. So we're just here. That's it. So, I don't even think we'd get money. We got like 5 people who listen, right? So, that's a joke. Actually, we have more than that now. 6. Oh, yes. All right. Ooh. Okay. For those of you who don't know, DLC Indy was last weekend. Jake and Sabrina and I were there at the event. It is the first time the 3 of us worked together in the same place. It was the first time I met Jake in person. Andrew's watching on 5 devices. Thanks, bud. Way to look out for me. Way to get those numbers up for us. So yeah, it was a great DLC. I'm going to have a soapbox moment and in a couple minutes. But first, what I want to do is I'm going to go through just a quick slideshow, just show some pictures, everybody, from DLC. Just kind of have a shout out to some of the folks that we met while we were there. Give me 1 second to get this going here. Yeah. Okay. First of all, this was all 3 of us together with Kawa and Kim. If you guys know Kawa and Kim, we were able to get one in front of the Great Illuminary. Woo! So, see, there's that smile on Jake's face. Never left. I'm telling you. So, yep. And let's see.
One of the nicest people I've ever met in my life.
Oh yeah, that's I can echo that for sure. Kawa too, they're both nice. So
great.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely him too. But he was definitely more talking to you, and me and Jake had like an extra minute or 2 talking to her, and she was just so sweet.
No,
her outfits are always
she's great.
So good as well too.
I would show pictures of them. They got to meet, my family got to meet them as well, and my daughter and Kim just. Let me just say, I can't wait for my daughter to come to a DLC and see Kim. That's all I can say.
Oh, I can totally see that after spending some time with Minnie on Thursday.
Yeah, that's right. You guys met my family too, so it was all pretty cool. So my family went, which was pretty neat. They didn't go to the DLC. They just traveled with me and met my co-hosts and friends here. So that was kind of cool. All right, so there's that. Of course, the DLC, the venue. Thanks to Sabrina for this picture. All right, I got to give a shout out to my guy Brett. Right. So this is why I love Lorcana. Right. A random encounter in a coffee shop on the morning of the DLC. I meet Brett, who's in there with his wife, and his wife's like, I'm just tagging along, just watching him. He's playing the main event. One of the nicest guy who's excited. It was his first DLC. Kept running into him throughout the event. Finally, I got to get my picture with you, and he remembered my name, which is kind of cool. Like a lot of times when you meet people, they're just so like locked into whatever's around them. Me being one of them, you just forget somebody's name. And, I didn't forget his and he didn't forget mine, which was kind of cool. It was just neat, good guy, man. Brett, I hope to see you in another one, bud. And then my boy David, who's from the area here, who actually takes part in our chat here. He was in one of my events and he goes, hey, I'm David. He says, you're Kelsey from Lorcanarama. Only the second time somebody has recognized me from the podcast.
Love the recognition. That's so cool.
It shocked me. I just don't get recognized for that at the DLC. So not that I'm looking to, but it's always kind of cool when it happens. So,
it caught me very off guard the first time.
What's that?
It caught me very off guard the first time it happened to me.
Yeah.
It happened to
Yeah.
me at PAX while Jake and I were playing a 2v2. And this guy
I was
walks
there to
up with
witness it.
a picture of me on his phone and he goes, "Is this you?" And I was like, Yes. Yes, it
That's
is."
cool. That's cool. That's pretty cool. So then we got Dalton and Jesse. I want to take a picture of them because they were dressed up like Woody and Jesse. Now there were several folks dressed up like Woody and Jesse through the weekend, but their outfit, they were together, and they're wearing it right. So it is a shout out to them, and they earned their Simba playmat, which they're like, please make sure you get the playmat. So hard earned playmat. So
Funny enough, I think I also interacted with Dalton and Jessica on Sunday. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I traded you a Merida mat for a Big Hero 6 playmat from the mystery bags.
ooh, trades
Pretty
going
sure.
To
on.
get the Big Hero 6 mat signed
Yeah.
from the artist.
So
which is very cool.
originally, I opened Big Hero 6 and Jake opens Merida. But Jake loves Big Hero 6, so I give him the Big Hero 6 one, and I'm like, go get it signed. The artist is here. So he gives me his Merida. So now I'm walking around with this Merida mat, and I think it was Jessica who came up and said, "Hey, that Merida mat, do you want to trade for my Big Hero 6 mat?" And I was like, "Sure."
So
At this point, I was just committed to giving anybody whatever mat they wanted.
Yeah, at that point,
That's
you were
cool.
like, I want no mats.
I was like, I don't care.
So Dalton and Jessica, I love the outfits, man. Yep, that was them. They say in chat. Thanks for the
Oh,
trade.
great.
There you
Oh,
go.
I'm glad you like it.
Small world. Woo. So anyways, love the outfits. I love their smile. They were like, to me, Dalton, I'm going to just call y'all Dalton. Dalton was a lot like Jake. Every time I saw him, he was smiling. So it was kind of cool. That kind of picks me up as a judge. Cause like as a lore guide, I'm tired. I'm worn out just running back and forth. And sometimes I'm not always focused. I'm just, when I'm going from one point to the next. And when I happen to look up and see somebody smiling, that's always just a refresher. And on more than one occasion, I saw Dalton smiling and it just helped me out. So thanks, man. I appreciate it. All right. Next picture I want to get a shout out to. I can't remember his name. All right. But I was judging I was doing a multiplayer event and he came to play multiplayer. And I mean, when I say he came to play multiplayer, he brought a deck specifically for multiplayer. And he played Let's Get Dangerous. Now, for those of you who don't know what that card does, let me pull it up real quick. Basically, when you play it, and it's a song, so he would sing it quite a bit. Each player shuffles their deck and then reveals the top card, and then each player who reveals a character may play that character for free. Otherwise, you put the reveal cards on the bottom of their player's deck. So it was a 4-player multiplayer game. So 4 people got to reveal the top cards of their deck and put characters into play for free. So that was kind of exciting to kind of watch that. It's like, this card will probably never see competitive play, but in multiplayer, it was a hoot. And, he coupled it with John Smith, which was aggravating. Nobody could even support their own characters. They had to throw it at John Smith. And I'll tell you what, he lost gloriously, but it was indeed glorious. He didn't win, but it was a glorious loss.
Made it troublesome for others.
Yes. It was,
but also gave them a lot of value too.
It was pretty cool. So yeah. So I took a picture and said, I got to take a picture. I got to throw that up there. Right. So, and then there's Jake. Jake got his playmat.
I got my playmat.
Jake got his playmat.
Back rush, some drafts.
We grinded for that, Matt.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
But it was definitely worth it. It's a really beautiful playmat. The foiling is really nice. And coupled with my Mulan card, which I got for achieving my 3 wins, which was just about all I can get, it seemed, that day.
I'm proud of you, man. That's without sounding condescending, it was you did it, man. You did it.
For my first DLC, yeah, getting out there, I feel it was good for me. It was an achievement
we had contemplated last week when we were going to do a show, and then we just couldn't because every one of us just got bombarded, right? And we just couldn't do it. And but we were going to talk about how to prep for your first DLC, and since it was Jake's first DLC. Sabrina and I were going to walk him through it, right? And talk about that stuff. Well, Jake had to kind of wing it with Sabrina's guidance. And, I occasionally popped in to see him while I was on break. But I want to stop and say, Jake, let us know your thoughts, man. Cause this isn't about you. There are a lot of people out there who have not been to a DLC. And are maybe contemplating going to a DLC. And so the next DLC that they go to will probably be their first one. And just like this was your first one, why don't you tell them from a first timer's perspective, the good, the bad, the ugly, the wonderful, whatever it is you want to tell them about the DLC. The floor is yours, my man.
Thank you. Well, I think the best part about it was seeing all the people coming together just to play the game that I really, really love. And I think a lot of my people in my area, there's like a lot of people in my area, so they all were able to kind of go out there. And I saw so many people I knew and so many people that I didn't, but everyone was just really friendly. And I think that coupled with being able to play the game and everyone that I played against was really nice. And I know that I may have not been in like the top table, so maybe depending on who you're playing against, everyone I was at least was really nice. And I think just being able to rejoice in your game was really, really a special moment, honestly.
Well, I remember, I'll tell you the moment that Sabrina and I had, we were sitting at the table together and you were in line and I looked up and I said, he's still in line? You know, he's in line for a vendor. He's still in line. How long has he been there? And I'm like, what is he going to, I was like, is he going to spend the whole time in line? And Sabrina's like, we got to talk to him, you know? And I was like, is he?
No.
Well, I said that. Hold on. I said that. Thank you, Sabrina. I couldn't remember who. Thanks for correcting me. Go ahead. You want to tell the story? Go ahead, Sabrina.
No, you can. I just don't want to be accused of saying that because I didn't.
So the gist of it was we were like, is he having fun? Yeah. Well, let's leave him alone. Let's let him figure. Yeah, he'll figure it out.
And I love to people watch and see all the people. Like the cosplays were also really cool too.
I was like, I think I said something like, he should be grinding tickets right now. You know.
You're also right though. There's so much to do while you're there between the vendors, between all the side events, Pack Rush. There's on-demand events. There's stuff you could sign up for. There's each day there was different stuff. There was a core on Sunday. There was stuff on Friday as well too. There's a lot to do, and I was trying to sell some stuff as well too because I know a lot of the enchanted prices were crazy, but they bought so much at that point that they weren't even buying some of the cards that they.
Yeah, a lot of people were selling
because they were just, we have so many of these.
Before we go in chat, you got congratulations on the mat from Dalton.
Oh, thank you so much.
I don't know if you saw that. So
and congrats on the Lion King one, the Simba one. That's cool.
Yeah, that's yep.
They're both great.
Grinding for those mats is that's no small accomplishment. It takes some work. It takes some work. So, for me, my weekend was a wonderful weekend. The best part of the weekend for me was my family got to meet you guys. They got to meet Kawa and Kim, who I'm very good friends with. It was just neat that, I got to introduce my family to you all and that I got to introduce you all to my family. And then they kind of enjoyed the city and the area while I did my thing. The event itself was wonderful. I always enjoy the different leads I get to work under. I never apply to be a lead because I think I've had this conversation with you, Sabrina. I do enough of that in my job. I just need a break from it, and so I enjoy mentoring people by working under them and kind of guiding them through, like leading their first side event or something like that, and just helping them fill in the blanks and letting them find their own way. But, kind of like, okay, don't forget about, you got to do this, in here and there, during the rounds and stuff like whatever, And so that was fun. I had a couple moments where I made decisions that I wish I didn't have to make. And I think I talked to a few people about that.
We talked about some of that.
Yeah. I had to give game losses to people I didn't want to give game losses to. And I felt like that big. And I'm not going to elaborate any further. When you take the lore guide test, one of the things when I first took it way back in Toronto, some of the questions that they had on the test at the time were these situations to see if you would make a decision based on the rules or one based on emotion. Yeah, and they were very compelling to the point that it almost seems that the emotional choice is the right choice. But you also got to take into account what Ravensburger's approach is with this game, and that they're trying to be, I'm not going to say as lenient, but to be almost forgiving or welcoming of people and things like that. They don't want to create a bad experience, but you have rules and you have to apply the rules uniformly across the board. And as a lore guide, I don't get to choose which rules to apply and which ones not to apply. And so, you know, it's always difficult when somebody stumbles into a rule violation unintentionally and there's a severe penalty for it and you're the one who has to enforce it. And especially when it's their first DLC and they're there with their family. It was just, yeah, I just felt bad about that. But I won't say anything more than that. It did play itself out nicely in the end, and I'm happy for that. So
That's good. I feel like sometimes it's tough, but you got to make the call sometimes as a judge.
I did not make the call on the Sisu, Andrew.
Oh, not that one, no.
All right. Can I go ahead and do my soapbox since it's been brought up?
Yes, the floor is yours.
All right. So thanks, Andrew. You gave me my segue, right? I just need to say something. I just need to get something off my chest. This is not necessarily the view of the podcast, although my mates kind of had me tone it down appropriately. So today, Dan Arnold at TFM announced that he disbanded the Forbidden Mountain as a competitive team. And as many of you in the community know, like there's been some toxic talk through social media, which I don't really follow that much, but it goes to saying a lot whenever I don't follow it that much and I'm aware of it, you know, because I'm aware of very few things on social media. And, you know, and you can read Dan's statement to get all this. All I'm doing is just regurgitating for context. So this weekend, one of the players for TFM was involved in an incident in which he was disqualified for cheating. I was not a part of that incident. And even if I was, I would not talk about it because we as lore guides are not allowed to, and I will not violate that. I will say this though, throughout the last year, it's just kind of has been unrelenting towards their team ever since Denver. And people cheat, but teams don't cheat. Teams are non-acting entities. The people on those teams cheat, and because of their association with the teams, that rubs off on other people, much like Dan kind of said in his post. And, you know, to attack the character of somebody associated with a team just because of association, I think you got to be careful of that. If I, as a lore guide, went into every investigation with the attitude that some people on social media went, nobody would be playing this game because I disqualified just about everybody I'd come in contact with. But I don't have that attitude. You go in there with an open mind, you listen to people, you try to figure out what's going on and what's happening before you pass judgment. All of that to say this, Dan disbanded Forbidden Mountain today. And Dan, as your friend, that was the right decision. I pat you on the back for it. I know it was hard. Maybe it wasn't hard. It would have been hard for me. I'm not sure where you were with it. But I will say this to the folks out there. I will not question his character. He might make some bad decisions every now and then, but I'm in that boat too, buddy. So, so I don't know what they are. I'm just saying that, whatever. I know he'll keep coming to events, and so will those players. And I just ask folks, hey, they're players. It's over. You guys did it. You got rid of TFM. Now let it go. Find another dead horse to beat, and move on. So that's all I want to say. So I just, I hate it to see my friends go through that, but it was the right decision. It was the right decision. So anyways, now we're there. Now we're back. I have my soapbox. Thank you.
You're welcome. I would like to briefly piggyback to make a generalized statement, especially I've been to a lot of DLCs and there's a lot coming out about this DLC. I would say more so than other ones that I've been to. And I would just urge people to remember that when you're talking about the players, you're also talking about people. We all have lives and jobs and families. And it's really easy to sit on social media and say a lot of things that you wouldn't say to somebody's face. And this isn't about anybody or anything in particular. I just urge all of you to remember that we're all real people at the end of the day. And sometimes a little bit of grace can go a long way. So
yep,
that's my little tack on soapbox moment.
All right. Dalton in chat, you're welcome. You're welcome. It's my pleasure to help. when at the DLCs. I know it's stressful for folks when things aren't going their way, and we as lore guides are there. So that leads to another moment. So Sabrina, you and I had a talk while we were there about how you should talk to a lore guide. Do you remember this conversation we had? So let me start off with an incident that I had without saying names. So in a side event, I had a player who's been to many DLCs, who's just played in a side event, was put in an awkward position where he was playing a father who was sitting next to their child, and the father had to pause every now and then to assist the child. Their match ended up going to time, and it ended up being a draw. And if they would have played out, then there would have probably clearly been a winner. And there was some frustration. And in talking with the player, he's like, "What am I supposed to do? Like, I'm not going to shark a father and his kid, you know?" And my answer is, that's what I'm there for. I'm there as the lore guide to take that burden off of you. All you have to do is raise your hand and say, "Hey, he needs to help his kid for a little bit. Can we get a little bit of a time extension?" And you know what I'm going to say? Absolutely. And I'll give you the time extension and you can play it out. That's all you have to do. We're there as judges. A lot of times people, I feel like, don't want to call a lore guide for whatever reason. Maybe they're intimidated by him, or Sabrina's had this experience and has talked about it before on the show, and I'll turn it over to her in a second. But I know I'm there to help you and to ease the stress and the burden of that DLC as much as possible from you. That's to take away those things so you don't have to concern yourself with it. So don't be afraid to raise your hand, call a lore guide, call a judge, say, "Hey, you mind if we get an extension? You know, does this happen?" And sure, we could do that, you know? So anyways, Sabrina, go ahead. You had some thoughts on it too.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I think that I know when I first started playing at a level where there were judges, and that's not even like DLCs, that's several levels of competition below that. It can be scary to have to call a judge. Like, I think a lot of times in the community, we associate the judges with like disciplinarian rather than like somebody that's there to help you assess
Like
and
an
understand the
authority
rules.
figure.
Yeah. And therefore, like, you don't want to call a judge. I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want my opponent to get in trouble. But I mean, having been to more and more DLCs and more competitive events, I've definitely gotten more comfortable. But what I noticed this weekend in observing other people's judge calls was not necessarily knowing how to ask the judge the question they want to ask. Because I know that as lore guides or as judges, you guys can only answer certain questions, correct?
We have some discretion, but yeah, I can't tell you how to play.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I can't tell you the play to make.
The person next to me was trying to essentially, she had an Eleanor. She had 2 Eleanors. Her opponent had I think several Diablos out. But what she was trying to understand was if she placed the second Eleanor, when she placed the second damage on the Diablo, would the Diablo see the card draw? And what she ended up asking the lore guide, or what the first lore guide interpreted, which is also what I interpreted, was how do the Eleanors trigger? Meaning, do the Eleanors trigger simultaneously, or do they trigger one after the other? So that is the answer she was given, which did not answer her question in the way that she needed answered. And it ended up with her appealing and asking a second judge, where the question asking got a little better, but at one point, that judge said something to the effect of, you know, "I can't answer that question because I can't dictate your gameplay." So in this situation, how should somebody go about asking that question to ensure that they're asking it in a way that they're gaining the information that they need? Also, sorry to those watching. I know my camera is doing weird things. I'm going to get a different setup for next week because this is awful.
Yeah. I just sent you a message. I was like, "Hey," yeah.
It's really bad. I will work on the setup for next week.
Yeah. That's okay. So it's that filter on there. So it picks you up whenever you get too close to it and puts you in with the background. So If you just sit still like you're a statue, you'll be okay. So,
I can't do that when I start talking.
so you've been told, what's that, Rue? You've been told, I'll let you know if it's wrong after the fact. Oh, yeah, they'll let you go ahead and hang yourself first, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah,
See,
true.
and that's the thing
Do
is
your
like
best, play your game. I'll fix it after. Yeah. Okay.
there has to be a way, especially in the scenario that I was sharing. I
Mhm.
feel like there had to have been a way for that player to ask the question to
Yeah,
get
there
the answer
is.
that she needed.
It's sometimes
And
too, as a judge, as a lawyer guy, when I'm listening to people, um, I'm listening and I'm reading the card and I'm looking at the table, and sometimes they'll ask something and I hear something totally different than what they ask, and it's I have to stop a lot of times and just listen, and it's hard to determine the intent of what they're getting at sometimes when they can't quite ask it right, you know, and so it's tough, but yeah, I don't know. It's hard when I don't know how to ask the right questions or tell people to ask the right questions, but it's usually what happens most of the time is, at least with me, and I've seen other lawyer guys do it too, is after the question and play continues, the lawyer guy will stand there and watch to see what's going on and make sure that he was understanding and put them back on the right path or whatever, or answer the question the right way. I know I do that every time. I don't walk away. So
I guess I think this is a little bit of a sensitive, for lack of a better word, topic for me, because of the judge call that I made in Atlanta, where I tried to ask a question, was basically told he couldn't answer me, tried to rephrase it, and then
different
ultimately was
time.
given the wrong information.
That was a different time. They were more strict back then, and now we a
It's
lot of,
a
I wouldn't say they're strict. A lot of judges have learned now how to interpret the questions and how to answer the questions in a correct way. Let me just say that through experience. It just took experience for them to get to that point.
so
Atlanta, they
maybe
were
the I mean, it's possible that the judges that I watched with that call weren't as tenured as some other judges. That's definitely possible. But I felt frustrated. Selfishly, I was frustrated because the game next to me was very loud. Um, I was having
Couldn't
a little bit
lock
of a
in
hard time
yourself.
concentrating. Yeah, I was having a rough time. It was round 5. It was the round that I like needed to win to get my Mulan. And I was having difficulty like focusing, and that's on me. But I was also frustrated for the girl next to me knowing that like she's trying to answer this question and is not able to answer, or she's trying to ask it and she doesn't know how to ask it in the way that she's going to get the answer she needs. So I was also frustrated for her.
yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I've been on judge calls before where I'm the backup judge and I'm cringing as somebody's explaining something or the judge is trying to answer, and I'm like, oh no, you can say it better than that. That's not what they mean. Yeah, it's all I could do to just like, I'm squirming on the inside, you know.
Well, I
So,
know at work sometimes when people ask me a question, I clarify. Are you asking me if you should XYZ? And before I assume that they're trying to ask me the worst, be like, "Are you asking if you should blah blah blah?" And when they're like, "No, that's not what I mean." I'm like, "Okay, let's work on what the root of the question is. Like let's figure that out together." Obviously, you can't always do that in this situation. But to what Rue is saying, that's the conversation Jake and I had when we got back to our hotel that night, which was I feel like with 2 of the most popular decks in the format, you should probably understand how the Eleanor interaction works with the Diablo, especially round 5.
I would agree. And
But
even
I also
besides,
get
yeah,
I'm
but
going to
I
say
also get
this.
that not everybody that wait, I'm not done.
All right, go
I
ahead.
also get that not everybody that registers for a DLC play tests, plays competitively, plays against the meta,
Yeah.
etc., etc., etc. So you are going to run into that. I'm not ignorant to that fact. But I did complain about it later because I was a little frustrated.
and I
I
will say, sorry, continue, Kelsey.
No, you go ahead, Jake.
I was just gonna say that I think, like, yeah, in Rue's saying of empathetic to new players who are like in the competitive scene, they should know how their deck triggers. I would understand that maybe they don't, but I saw a lot of people who I would not consider to be the most competitive people there, and that was like not like surprising to me, but maybe a little bit. Just
Yeah.
at the highest level DLC competitive thing, I would expect to be against people who have like trained and like wanted this so badly, and it wasn't a lot of that, and so like it was a little surprising, but I can understand in this game being just how it is, like everyone just rejoices and wants to play regardless of their competitive level. So I feel like the judging should also maybe affect that in a way too, where they could like understand scenarios and like where a player is more like
Mhm.
strategically like able to navigate like a competitive setting as compared to other people, I would say, because like even as me being new, I knew how to play my game and I know how to play the deck, but I wouldn't have maybe necessarily known how to navigate a judge call as well, because I've never personally been in a tournament like that.
If you even played on duels. Actually, there's some people who haven't. I didn't
Yeah,
discover it
actually,
until 2 weeks
I was
ago.
surprised that Kelsey did not know what that is, but that's
Yeah.
fair as well too. I feel like you also do a decent amount of like in-person playing as well too.
There's
Yeah.
also a huge difference between playing online versus playing in person is so different. For
Well, they take
example,
care of your
back
triggers for you.
when
Yeah, and I think that that's
well,
huge for
yeah,
Yeah.
specific decks. You need to know what
Yeah.
triggers
the
when and
set
what specifically.
when Nala first came out and I was playing Shocking Amber Seal with Nala in it, I went to an event and I missed so many Nala triggers to gain the extra lore because online did it for me.
Yeah.
So like online can be great to get your reps in, but there's definitely something to be said for playing. Yeah, online teaches bad habits for auto triggers. It's helpful, but there's also a lot of in person needed to break some of those habits and to
I
learn your
agree.
triggers.
There was a point when way back when, I can say it, Pixelborn was out, because who am I? I'm not official or anybody. Like Diablo was in its heyday, and it was like, you didn't really realize how good Diablo was. You just kept looking up and seeing your opponent always had cards, because the triggers on it, you're clicking through stuff. You're not realizing they're drawing so many freaking cards from Diablo. And then you look up and your opponent's got a fistful of cards. You go, how'd they get those? You go, oh, Diablo. Okay. Yeah. So you realize how good it is in real life when your opponent is constantly reaching to the top of that deck and flipping a card off of it and putting it in their hand, because you keep drawing while it's exerted. But anyways, as far as the event itself, we had a pretty decent turnout. The deck that won, I'm going to set this up, right? Did anybody see that coming?
I know one person who did.
I know one person who did.
Oh man, I got to say it. I told him in my head I was going to be too big to crop during tonight's stream, because Friday morning I was walking through the venue with Kawa and Kim, and Kawa asked me, he goes, well, what do you think is going to win this weekend? And I said, Ruby, my first thing that I said to him was, Ruby Amethyst has a good shot, but these were my exact words, if somebody is good enough to pilot Ruby Sapphire actions, not Ruby Sapphire items, not Ruby Sapphire Maui Shark like DKV version, but Ruby Sapphire actions. If somebody were good enough to pilot that I felt that deck was the best deck for the meta. And what won? Yes, sirree. Yes,
Actions,
sirree.
baby.
Yes, sirree, it won. So
it is very well suited against dogs too, and I think that is
those are my
best
exact
for going
words
into
to
the
him.
finals as well.
It's suited against dogs and it tramples Amber Seal, so the two biggest decks in the format.
It munches those two decks. It munches anybody who might think they can run toys in Affinity.
Ask me how I know.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm not gonna go off on it, but I was right. I got it right.
If
I told my wife,
Kelsey's mouth, I would have been Blue Red's gonna be winning.
My head could not get any bigger.
No, it was and I was torn too, because the two players playing in the finals, Alphos was the opponent playing against it, and Man, if you guys have met him before, dude, he's pretty nice guy. College student, just kind of struggling college student, like all college students are. Life-changing money from winning that golden Mickey for him. And I was rooting for him, but I also wanted the deck that I predicted the win to win, so that I could talk that I said that deck was going to win. But I want Alphas to win because he's a nice guy. So I just walked away from it. I was like, I couldn't watch. I just left the venue. I was like, I'll just find out later what happened. So
it was really cool to watch the games in person as well too, with all the announcers and the casters as well too.
Oh, Jake, man, I got to go back to it. When I got to introduce Jake to a couple people, and Jake was just starstruck. It was so cute, man. It was so cute.
I got to meet Sky and Skylar.
Yeah, you met
Sky and Sailor. Jake.
Yeah, you got to meet Sailor.
You know the names of the people that you met.
Same thing. Yeah.
In all fairness, Sailor introduced himself to him by his real name, so he did do that. So,
that is fair.
But anyways, I got to meet them and, got to meet Kyle and Kim, and it was just neat to kind of see Jake meet all these folks. It was pretty neat.
There were so many players there, like all of the top players were there, all chilling.
That's cool.
I'm trying to meet Baker. Can somebody make this happen for me at the next?
We tried to.
Yeah, I've learned with Baker, like on Friday morning is your best chance because he's not worn down by the event yet. He's not running around going crazy trying to take care of stuff and putting fires out. And also there are not that many people there clamoring to get a hold of him either. And
it's just like it's not me to like stand in line to like meet somebody. Like it's just not who I am as a person. Yeah. I did see him out of the DLC Sunday night. But it felt weird to like approach him in that setting, especially because it was like midnight. So I did not.
Stalker. I saw you in the DLC.
I let the man enjoy his cigarette and moved on with my night. But
no, he's a good guy. I like him too.
I love the Disney bounding fits the whole team had, the whole commentating.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. JDZ's Tangled fit was too good.
Okay, but Liam's Little Bo Peep.
The
whole Toy Story squad.
That went hard. Mm-hmm.
It was good.
That's funny. Oh, man. Yeah, Liam actually took one of the pictures for us that I showed earlier. He took the one of David and I. I was like, Liam, everybody takes pictures of you. Could you take one for me for these?
It's not the first time you've asked him to do that.
Yeah. If he happens to be there right when I need a picture, and he's always accommodating, so it's kind of cool. So,
and who took the one of us in Kawa, Mo?
I think it was Mo. Yeah.
Mo Shamley. Yeah, he was on his way out. Hey Mo, can you take a photo for us? Yeah. So that was pretty neat. So now that we're done with these DLCs, what we have to look forward to now are the North American Championships and the European Championships, which, by the way, Fanfinity today just put out the call for applications for lore guides for those for staff to staff those.
And Kelsey's going to apply. Shocking.
Yep. Yeah. So I have, you know what? The European Championship is my worlds. Like it just like the worlds is to a player. That's my worlds. If I can make it there, then yes. So, it depends, Rue. It depends. Some of them will. They did when I went to Ghent. But sometimes they'll say we just want local so that they don't. I'm guessing so they can cut down on those expenses. But
pay maybe.
Yeah. So yeah. It just depends, honestly. But anyways, so if you're interested, you might take my spot, but I'm gonna tell you to apply anyway. So if somebody that I told apply goes to DLC Europe and I don't get to, I'll rejoice for you and I'll hate you the rest of my life, but that's fine. So
Kelsey's like, I'll be happy for you for 1 second and never again.
Until I resent you.
I'd like you to come lore guide at some stateside events. Where at? Over there by you? You want me to come over there to Pensacola? I think I'm going to come play your set champ on Saturday, by the way. I'm not sure yet.
Kelsey, how far away from you does Rue live? Not exact miles. I'm not trying to be a creeper.
About an hour.
So when Jake and I eventually make our way down there, can we like reunite with Rue? I feel like
Sure.
we need to
He has a
meet in
stream, by the
person.
way, on Twitch. You should check his stream out. He does.
You should
He
send
does
me the
play.
link.
He plays game. He put it in chat last time. Hey, Ru, can you put the link in your chat again? In the chat again.
I think I actually followed him when he did it last time. Now that you said it.
Yep. So yeah, he streams games. He plays games on webcam, and so he's good. He's a great player. You learn a lot watching him. What was neat, I'll tell you a story first. So when I hosted the event here, that we had a big event in Pensacola that I put on that was independent of stores, but we had a store that kind of gave us the venue to put it on, and Rue came over and streamed it. He streamed it on our channel and his channel at the same time, all day long. How many hours was it, Rue? 12? It had to have been at least 12 hours. 12 straight hours. I think he took maybe 1 10-minute break simply because we had a pause in rounds. But yeah, it was long. So
Wow.
much respect. He soloed it. I came in every now and a couple of spots when I had a chance to sit down with him, but I really had to tend to the event and couldn't really sit down a lot with him. And man, he pulled it off. So I was impressed. So anyways, okay. So now that the DLC is over, I think we're done with Infinity. I had a talk with a lot of players and I'd asked them at the event, and I'll ask you guys, and then I'll tell you what some of the other players said. If you could change something about the Infinity format to get people excited about it and, have more, I'm going to say participation, what would you do? What would you suggest to Ravensburger or anybody listening that they could do to the Infinity format? So Rue says bans. Okay. I hear you.
So
I already know.
I
So
I want to I agree to an extent, bans. But I don't think that solves the issue. I don't think that gets. I think bans get more people into Infinity who are currently on the edge. I'm going to use a pool as an analogy, right? If Infinity is the deep end, bans get the people in the shallow end into the deep end. But I need to get the people that are on the edge of the pool, the people that haven't even dipped their toes in yet.
Yeah.
And I think the only way to do that is we need to find a way
Push
for
'em.
Ravensburger to, well, yeah, literally. We need to find a way. Ravensburger has to do something to support the format at a smaller level, in my opinion.
Yeah.
More local Infinity tournaments at leagues.
Local
Send us
Infinity
more.
would
Yeah.
be cool.
Yeah.
A nice support, maybe on a store champ level potentially.
Yeah.
I would
Now,
say that.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that them having the DLC as Infinity was a good and nice little step, I guess, for that. But people definitely gave backlash to that, and were not happy with that. But I'd say the only benefit of like bans is to potentially prevent like a tier 0 meta where they don't have like one deck where it's not just insane. But
Right.
I will admit, and to Sabrina's she can vouch for me as well too, there was a lot of decks being represented there. Like she played against a different color combination every single one of her
All
rounds.
6 rounds. Yeah.
I played against some whack decks as well. I played so many different ones that weren't as necessarily like the most meta ones as well too. Maybe it's because I was in the losers bracket, but also I think that also serves that there's opportunities there. So maybe if there wasn't as much of like a tier 0, we could potentially see more of that. But I don't think we're necessarily there because a deck that super counters dogs won, and we just, as Kelsey has said many times, we just find the answers and we can just get there. But we just have to take extra steps.
So I have a hot take. But if there were
bans, it might be all right to an extent.
I say it's a hot take, but not really. So I talked with Skylar and I talked with Rob Serpe, and we kind of saw things the same way. And I had been toying with this idea for a while, and I actually pitched it to Coop while we were walking back in the venue, and he stopped me and asked some questions about it. And he says, it's not a bad idea. But what I pitched was that you kind of have a curated format where you say you take Infinity. Okay, why do you have Infinity, right? Because you always want all your cards to always be relevant. That's why you have an infinity format, right? But some cards, even if they're in infinity format, are going to be irrelevant simply because they exist with other cards that are more relevant than they are in the same deck, right? For example, there's certain Amethyst cards I'll never play because they exist with Fox and Genie and Elsa, right? And so what my suggestion was look, you take your all your sets that are in core, and then you pick an arbitrary number of sets from all your other sets, and that's your infinity format for that year. And you can choose those sets randomly or however you want to choose them. But what it does is it allows you to curate a format. So now designers have more design space to play with certain things. If they know a certain set's going to come in and they may want a card to shine, like some of the old Captain Hook cards that never got their moment in the sun, they can create a card that can go with it because they know that's coming into infinity format, right? And would be able to go with it. And then every year you just rotate the sets out and you pick more random sets. And think about the marketing they could do with that, right? Like every summer, about 8 weeks before that format, they reveal one set at a time. Here's the next set that's going to be in there, man. People be turning in that Lorecast, speculating. There'd be, Vegas will be running odds on what set's going to be chosen. I think it's a good marketing toy. And then cards never really lose their value permanently. They may lose it temporarily because it's not in the format, but because there's a chance it will come back in, the card will never really lose its chance to have its value, and you don't have to ban anything. If something's bad, it'll just exist for a little while and we'll boot it out unless it's really, really bad, in which case you keep the power of the ban, but you just banned it just for that one season, and then maybe it comes back and it's bad because it existed with something else that made it bad. You don't know. So, but
Yeah.
Ruth says, I like that because let's be real. Each set only puts out like 4 to 5 meta relevant cards. So there's not a lot of variety. Exactly. That's my point. Yep. We almost lost our minds when dogs put Eleanor in. Yep. And that's my point. Go ahead. Go, Sabrina.
I think there's like one thing that we're all kind of ignoring in this, which is the barrier to entry.
Well, that's why I like that, because it's infinity, because it's going to go back to the beginning of the game. There's nothing we can do about people who missed out from the cards at the beginning unless they reprint them. I mean,
which would suck for all of us that have them.
Right. Yeah. But that's kind of what they did with Fable, right? They tried to approach Fable by saying, here's some cards that we know you guys missed out on a long time ago, and we want to keep around in this format for new players. It's like, we're going to let you stay in this new format that's only the last, 8 sets or the last year, and then Fabled, and then we built on it, and then the next set will close it out, right? But, it's like, here it is. Here's some cards that you missed out on, but we think you would have fun playing with, or that we want to be part of this, this core environment. And they can do the same thing again, and people probably flip their lid again, but who cares? It worked. It worked. People gonna whine and cry about stuff just to do it anyway.
I mean, at the end of the day, you can't please everyone.
Right.
And I also think that's what, so if I go back to my pool analogy, you got the people already in the deep end, and you got the people in the shallow end, and you got the people that are in their bathing suits by the pool, right? Like, they want to play. Maybe they play a different format. Maybe they go to locals. But you also have the people that are just no matter what you do, they're never going to be interested in Infinity.
They just want to sunbathe.
Right. They just want to sunbathe. They started in Shimmering Skies, and they don't want to pick up first chapter stuff.
Yeah.
And they hate that Be Prepared was ever printed. And and that's okay.
That's
I think the conversation is we're never going to get that person. So how do we get the people that do want to go swimming? How do we entice you a little bit further in?
I can tell you the story, right? But as a kid, just your pool analogy just brought up this. As a kid.
Terrible analogy, but I can't think of anything better.
No, it's great. It's great because it goes right along with what you're saying. There was these kids that took swimming lessons at the pool one summer, right? And they finally, at the end, they would be at the pool taking swimming lessons an hour prior to the pool being open to the public. Then all of us kids who got there, the public would get there, and those kids would never go in the deep end. And this one kid kept saying he didn't want to go in the deep end because there were too many people there. So the lifeguard, who was also the swim instructor, made everybody get out the pool so the kid would go in. And guess what the kid did? he didn't go in. And it's like these people you're talking about, right? It doesn't matter what you do on the deep end, they're going to complain about it. And when given a chance, you call them out on it, they ain't going to go in.
They give them what they want.
Exactly.
I'm good, actually.
They won't go in. They're just looking for excuses and things to complain about. So, yeah.
And like, there's people in Jake and I's play group that are adamantly, I don't want to play Infinity.
Don't bash
That's
your
fair.
locals. They're going to get you when
No
you get
problem.
there.
Other people that I'm like actually friends with, I don't care. It's fine. The fact that you don't want to play Infinity isn't a big deal. They supported Jake and I in playing Infinity. They offered to try to make a locals Infinity so that I could get extra reps in. Like, but they're never going to want to go to a big Infinity tournament. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Yeah, for some folks the format just isn't compelling. I think that they were happy to see things like Fox go away, and tired of Whole New World and Rapunzel's, and
it's hard because
B-Prep.
when I played the game that shall not be mentioned, I had a hard time getting into any of the quote like extended formats. Because there were 25 years worth of cards that came before I knew the game existed.
Yeah, it's a huge library there. This game's going to get like that, and we can't avoid it.
Right.
So that's why.
Right now, there's only 12 sets, but what happens when there's 24 or?
Well, that's why I'm saying. That's why I'm saying That's why I'm saying you have that format that curates it and limits it to like 10 random sets from it. And then those players only really need to know those 10 sets for that given period of time. And then next year, they can learn 10 more sets. And maybe some of those sets get repeated. Maybe you say, hey, you can repeat them, but we're never going to let a set stay in more than 2 years in a row or something like that, And, you can come up with all kinds of, you got the world as your playground with it. You can do whatever, So
Ravensburger, listen.
I just think the ideal to be able to curate it along with the designers designing when they know, like Ravensburger will probably know well ahead of time which sets they'll do for a certain upcoming season. And then you can give it to the designers and they can say, hey, next year in October, these are the cards that are going to be part of our Infinity format. Why don't you have a little bit of freedom with your design and play around with some of those cards that didn't get a moment to shine and see if you can create something that gives them that opportunity when they rotate in, I mean, if I were design, I know I do design things, but not on a professional level like these guys all the time. But as somebody who likes to create, I do it with software all the time. Given the freedom and the opportunity to explore and to be creative is like my greatest desire. It's like and I can imagine a lot of these devs are the same way too, and so it'd be, I think they would have fun with it. However, it's Ravensburger's call, not mine. I'm not going to say anything else about it because, you got to be careful. If you say too much, then they'll be afraid to do it because then they're afraid they got to give you credit for it. I'm done. Peace out. No more on the topic. So, because I want it to happen. So, all right, we got to pick a card for you guys tonight. I got one for you. Hold on. Let's see what we got. All right. I'm going to give you guys.
Did I tell Kelsey
Hey,
I
that's
didn't know
me.
how to use a card this weekend? Trying to think,
Ooh.
because if so, it'll be that card.
All right, here we go. I don't know if do you guys have it up so where you can see it?
Yeah.
The card is Distract, a 2-cost inkable Sapphire action card. Do you guys know what that does?
I might know what it does, but I might let Sabrina do this one.
Yeah, because I know what blue cards do, Jake.
That's what to say, because I think I might know, so let's
Go ahead.
give it a go.
You go, Jake, you go.
I think, okay, it's 2 ink.
Yes, it says that.
Give chosen character -1 attack and draw a card.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Sabrina, do you concur? Or
I think it draws a card, but I don't know about that first part. I thought it did something to items.
I thought it was something.
Would it help? Would it help if you had another image? This is the version you see people playing all the time.
Right. Jake's right.
All right. Okay. Let's see.
Hey.
Chosen character gets -2 strength this turn.
-2.
Draw a card. Hey, this card, one of the things that I would tell you about if you're playing, number one, it's being played in the Ruby Sapphire Actions deck quite a bit. But that draw,
I was looking
that draw is not a May ability. That draw has to occur. So I was actually on a judge call this week where someone played this card, forgot to draw, activated a Robin Hood, looked at the top 4 cards of his deck, and then the players realized they did not draw for distract. And it's not a optional missed trigger. So we had to rewind the game state. And what we did was we randomized the 4 cards that they had seen and let them draw one of them. And then they went and did Robin Hood and, with the next 4, just the next card with the other 3. So, but yeah, you just got to be careful with this. That is not an optional draw. That is, you have to draw. So anyways.
I was close. Almost.
Yes, you were close. You were close. Good job, Jake. Good job.
Yeah, thanks. I'm trying to know.
Go ahead.
I'm trying to know. I mean, especially with that deck too. I want to try to do a core version potentially, but we'll see.
Cool. Any parting shots for you guys before we take off for tonight?
Quick thing about the DLC I wanted to point out. I love that they had a couple like other random activities. Like they gave us all 6 of one color pin when you got your badge, and then you could like trade each other to get the whole like rainbow of pins. Thought that was really cool. Thought the collection quest was really cool. Loved the mystery bag thing. But honestly, the biggest surprise for me was that the play hub worked like a charm all weekend.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that
and like
either.
I don't know who did what. I don't know what kind of witchcraft or whatever we used for that to happen, but if we could do that at every DLC moving forward, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
I will say this. Did you do any events on Friday?
No, on demands.
Yep, that's why the Play Hub worked for you.
Oh no.
Because Friday morning, when the first event started firing off, especially that tournament that they had, that was like the warm up tournament on Friday. Deck lists were missing. It was I don't know what happened with that. Something went wonky, but it was, man, there were so many people up at the stage to the point that they got me to come up there and they say, hey, can you go, help them? And I get up there and I see this. One thing I could do is organize a mob. All right. And, if I have one strength in life, that is it. And so I got up there and I started at the back. What you up here for? Some things I could take care of. They're missing a deck list. You got the email. Okay. You don't need to be in the line. As long as you got the email, you're fine. And I was able to weed out 50% of the line just by asking them a question and find out. Eventually we get the line weeded down and I started organizing it. And okay, how many scorekeepers do we have? We got 3. So now I know I got 3 queues I can start up. So I started queuing everybody, and we got it handled. But when it started off like that, I go, please tell me this isn't going to be a sign of what the weekend is going to be like. And it was not. That was the hiccup.
No, I was pleasantly surprised.
No issues.
And that was it. Dalton, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys coming back. We stream every Tuesday night, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central. If you ever miss it, which I don't know why you would, because it's the best podcast nobody listens to. That's what we are, right? We do upload the videos to YouTube, so you can tell your friends, hey, we were on this podcast, man, and go check it out. So you'll see. I don't edit the videos either. You just got to put up with what we put up with. So
we don't edit the videos, and he'll find the worst possible still of me to make the icon photo.
I try. I do my work.
I gave you some good ones this time.
In all fairness, it's YouTube that does it, and they do a fine job of picking them, so I leave it.
They just do it themselves.
Yeah, YouTube loves when I'm like open mouth cracking up.
So, well, thank you to everybody who tuned in tonight. We greatly appreciate it. And one thing too, we never really got to talk about it. We'll talk about it next week. What this podcast really is about. We kind of had I had a seminal moment at DLC this week, and we'll carve our path out going forward. But we're 43 episodes in, and that's how long it took me to figure it out. So let's just say that
we did it though.
We did it.
And going strong.
We got it.
They say it's not about the destination. It's about the path you take and the friends you meet and all that. You need us to host a 24-hour stream marathon. I'm going to need Starbucks to sponsor me for that.
One day we could do that. I'm sure one day it's a possibility.
We should do that. We should do that for episode 50.
Jake can't stay awake for more than like 2 hours sometimes. I don't know how he thinks he's going to pull 24.
Like, guys,
24 hours? That's like a filibuster.
Well, it
We can do
depends
a
on what we're doing. Maybe we could
filibuster
like play
episode.
test, or if it's like during Worlds or something like
Oh
that.
no,
Do
we
a
Well-
got
watch party.
We got to come up with rules, right? You can't have dead air time with stuff like that, man. It's got to be nonstop talking like the filibuster. We
Oh,
got to go. If
jeez.
we're gonna do that, we got to pull it off, man.
All right, well, I'm here for it. Let's get
All
it.
right,
All right,
Rue,
we'll
we'll
discuss.
work on
We'll
it.
discuss.
We'll even have guests.
Wait,
Rue
wait.
could be a guest
I
on it.
think
Yes,
I'm gonna
we
say
would
if
have
we're
to.
hosting, Rue might have to come on for that.
Yeah, there we go.
We have to have a lot
right.
of different guests.
All right, stay tuned. Hey, we have a 50th episode coming up, right?
Dude, Rue already knows, dude. We have so many over here. Don't even
Yeah.
get me started.
Play some retro games on stream. Oh no, we're not that kind
My
of podcast.
CRT.
All right, folks. Yeah, we digressed. Okay. So we'll see you all next week. Thank you. Oh, hold on. Mattified. If you don't have a Mattified mat, you need to check out their website. Go get it. I saw a couple of them at DLC this week. I even had a photo of it and forgot to put it up there. I was trying to pull it up while we were in midstream without tearing anything up, but I couldn't do it. Anyways, Craig and them do a great job with those mats. And every time I see one, they're each one just seems to be more beautiful than the one I've seen before. Yeah, check them out. Mattified.com. They foil out your mats for you. You can get custom play mats. You can get some of your Disney mats foiled up. Doesn't matter. You just send them off to them and they'll take care of it for you for whatever, they charge you to do it. Nice guy, does great work, and we'll back it up. So anyways, thank you all again for being here, and we appreciate it. We love doing this, and we'll see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.